Hey, what's going on, champions? Welcome to Growth Mode. I'm your host, Donnie Bovine, and I'm the CEO and founder of Success Champions. Spent over 20 years in the sales business development game and 4 years running my own company. Hanging out with me, as always, is Kevin Snow, the sales and tactician wonder boy. And on this show, man, we dive into sales, business development, growing, and scaling. Kevin, what the hell are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about why networkers need to get off their asses and take networking as an offensive sport.
Yes, does that mean I get to fucking yell at people today? So, look here. I think most people take networking as the easy route to do sales. They think that they're going to show up at meetings, go to events, jump on Zoom calls, and just meet a lot of fucking people, and eventually something's going to shake out and business is going to happen. I go back to the old days of me, doing every event in town, hitting every breakfast, and everything. Those times were moments where in my head that if I just fucking showed up everywhere, that people would just want to do business with me. Well, guess what? That shit doesn't work. If you're networking and you're everywhere, you're actually probably not doing any business at all because you're not spending any time with clients because you have so much fucking time out in the streets. So what I want you to think about and what we're going to focus on today is how do you really flip that fucking mindset to play an offensive strategy versus being the super networker. So for me, being offensive is being matter of fact, having a purpose, getting very strategic, and going after people that can help open doors for you. Most people, they just want to make a lot of friends. They're not looking at a strategy behind actively developing a network of badasses who are collaborating, who are strategically going after companies, who are opening doors for each other, and are growing their business. And I think most people are scared to death to try and put that together because they have to raise their own standards to be able to hang with other badasses at that level.
I think a lot of times it is a breadth versus depth issue for people.
A what?
Breadth.
Spell
wide
that.
Versus deep.
Okay, wide versus deep. Got it. I couldn't tell if you were saying breadth or breast. I was like, that's a whole different show, Ken.
I think a lot of networking organizations have pushed this idea that you have to have a huge network. You have to have all these people, and more is better and bigger is better. When in fact, that's self-defeating. Because you have all these people in your network, but you don't have any time to actually develop that relationship that's actually going to do things for you. My idea when we talk about offensive networking, it's similar to yours. Is like, I want the right people in my network. But for me, it's having that strategy and that plan of, all right, so how do we grow this relationship? How do we actively, as referral partners, promote each other and consistently generate referrals? Is it meetings where we're going through our calendars, meetings where we're looking at our client list, meetings where we're looking at contacts, meetings where we're looking at, hey, how are we going to cross promote? How do we talk about each other in our sales calls? That is offensive networking, where you're actually putting together plans and actions to go take. Most people do I went to the chamber event. I went to Rotary. I went here. I did this thing, and I met all these people, and they think that's networking.
Yeah,
and it's not. That is going out and meeting people. Networking
Dude, yeah,
is everything
totally.
that happens after.
Totally. Yeah, I
Okay,
used to go to this
I'm done.
event with the local chamber, and they did it. They were teaching networking, and I laughed out loud. But a gal who was teaching, she's like, one of the things me and my team do is we go to all these networking events and we play a competition to see who can collect the most business cards. And I'm like, get the fuck. And I'm in the back of the room. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You're not really doing that, are you? The whole room turns at me, right? Guys, that's not networking. Networking is exactly what Kevin's saying. It's getting a group of the right people together that understand that, you know, you're going to sit down, bring out your clients, bring out their clients, open doors for each other. You're going to sit there and go, you know what? We need to go after company X, Y, and Z, and figure out how we can collectively come together and get us all into that door. I mean, because think about it. I mean, how, and the reason people don't do this is because you're scared to death of fucking selling.
Yep.
Right? You're scared to death to actually put yourself out there, and you're scared that somebody else is going to see how much you suck at sales. Right? I mean, that's the end of the day. It's the reason people don't network to this level. You've really got to go be willing to get out of that comfort zone to go, hey, see company X, Y, and Z, we're going after it. Deal is, group of people that I'm hanging out with, other badasses, if I get into that company and we bring them on as a new client, I'm going to do everything in my power to bring you along for the ride.
Yeah, you see this all the time with salespeople. When they go to a trade show or they're working a trade show or they're just going there to some event, you know, they will always come back to the office with this stack of cards that will sit on their desk. And they're like, I'm going to call them. And then a week later, they haven't called them yet. 2 weeks later, they're still there. 3 weeks later, like, oh, I can't call these anymore. They're now old. And they just go into a drawer with all the other business cards.
Poker, right? They're like swapping the cards from one side of the desk to the other, you know. Or they pull out their old box of their own business card, but it's empty. And it's just filled with all these business cards they've collected over the fucking years and never done anything with.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Is you have your drawer. Instead of having your miscellaneous junk drawer in your kitchen, you have a business card drawer at your office. Yeah. And it's just all thrown in there. And they think, oh, I'm an awesome networker. No, you are a business card collector.
Yes. And guess what? There's no value in it. It's not like, you know, there's not a lot of value in like baseball cards or football cards anymore. There's even less value than having a stack of fucking business cards sitting on your desk. You know?
Ooh, I have a Donnie Bovine card. Who wants to trade?
Now that one might be worth something. That might be worth something. You know. But I mean, so you've got to think in a more offensive strategy. Quit playing this defensive mindset of, you know, let me collect business cards. You've really got to get in the game and think proactively. Let's take a trade show. Cool. You need to partner up with somebody at that trade show. Say, you go that way, I'll go this way. Whoever we get into, we connect with, we have a relationship with, I'll ping you and tell you to get your ass over here. I'm going to introduce you to this person. You do the same thing for me, right? And you collectively go after people. And guys, don't leave those events. Don't leave those conversations without setting fucking appointments. That's offense. Is, you know, if Kevin's working a booth or I walk up and we hit and I'm like a prime prospect, that motherfucker right then and there should say, dude, let me pull out my phone. Let's schedule a time for us to grab a Zoom call, sit down, have a real meeting, face to face, whatever else. I mean, you better start taking action and get that appointment, get that meeting, because you know your ass is going to leave that event, leave that trade show, whatever else, and as soon as you get home, you're going to start thinking, and when you start thinking, you're like, oh, that guy didn't really want to talk to me. Motherfucker, he was probably ready to buy right then and there, but your dumbass didn't want to go after it.
Exactly. And that's, you know, it's like sports. You know, everyone knows you sport a lot. So...
Dude, my shirt right now says I get enough exercise just pushing my luck. So,
but in the off season, that's recruiting. That is like, for college sports. Off season is when you're doing your recruiting, and that's like networking. That's collecting all the business cards. But then during the season, preseason, the regular season, and postseason, it's all about developing those people. It's about designing plays, training each other on how to work together. And that's what networking is. The best teams aren't just going to recruit and then say, look, we got all these great players, and then hope it works. There's a ton of work that comes after that to actually make the team gel and to make them effective. And that's the same thing with your network. You get these great people in your network. You meet this person that's going to be, oh my God, this is like my dream referral partner. Well, now you got to develop it. You need to do stuff.
Well, and I think you're on it. I think that to be a badass networker, you need to be a badass salesperson, right? If you know how to go get business, you know how to create your own book of business, get your own clients and prospects, networking makes you into a fucking rock star. Because what you bring to the table is a valuable asset. You can legitimately help other badass networkers. And don't spend your time with other people who can't sell, guys. You need to make sure that your circle of networkers that you're fucking hanging out with are all performing at that level. And look, if you're not performing in that level, you're fucking the other people in the room by bringing them down. You need to up your game and go because if you're being the badass in the moment, everybody else is going to up their game to keep up with you. And it's this whole idea of collaboration, this whole idea of getting laser focused. You know how badass it is to partner up with a group of people and collectively go after a client, and then, one person gets a meeting scheduled, so the rest of us, work our time to get a meeting scheduled around the same time, just so you can fucking pass each other in the hallway? You know how awesome it is to be inside of a company and you're like, oh, hey, Kevin, great to see you. I didn't know you worked with these guys. and it just adds such a fucking dynamic value to collectively go. And the power of this, guys, you can't beat it. Because it's that familiarity. It's that, fuck, if I'm already working with Donnie and I think he's a badass, fuck, if he's telling me to work with Kevin, dude, I'm in, because I'm assuming Donnie's going to only introduce me to somebody that's that caliber.
Yeah, and you've seen it on my website. I have what I call my special operations team, and it's all my best referral partners. It's the people that I work with and I absolutely trust implicitly to give my best clients to. And I tell my clients about this up front. Even before I close the deal, I show them, hey, here's what I bring to the table. It's not just getting me. Here's my special operations team. These are all the people who do everything else your company is going to need to make what we're doing work amazingly. And I'll point people out and talk about what they do. And that's what networking is. I'm on other people's websites as the same thing. They call it different stuff, but I think that's key. Yeah. And it's because we've put, all right, so how do we promote each other? How do I talk about you in front of a client? What is the entry point into where in my sales process or fulfillment process is the entry point to bring you in for your sales process? And we know that about each other. So now it becomes second habit for us to do. My social media companies that I work with, they know I talk about them at every freaking sales meeting, because I'm going to talk about traffic, and that you have to have traffic or my stuff isn't going to work nearly as well as you think it's going to, because no one's seeing it.
Right.
So we figured out early that that's how to do it. But most people don't. They just think, oh, we had a really cool virtual coffee and now I'm going to get referrals.
Yep. And guys, and I love that. Think about a virtual coffee. If you're not going into that virtual coffee thinking, who can I introduce this motherfucker to? Then you're missing a massive opportunity to grow your business. Karma's a real fucking thing. And if you're sitting down with a bunch of people and you're opening fucking doors for them, which is also an offensive strategy, right? Then you're putting so much good juju into the fucking universe that good shit's gonna happen. But oftentimes I hear, it drives me nuts when I hear people say, but I don't have anybody to introduce people to. Well, then fucking go sell something. I mean, you do, right? You have a Rolodex of fucking contacts. You're just scared to introduce people to them because you're afraid it's going to reflect bad on you.
Yeah, I had this conversation with a new member in a chapter I was starting years and years ago, and he's like, "Well, I'm having trouble bringing visitors because I don't know anyone." I'm like, "How many new houses are you in a week? How many new clients are you talking to do your thing?" I think he was a painter, and he's like, "Oh, I usually meet with 15 or 20 new prospects." I'm like, how are you not asking them and figuring out in that initial piece, what do you do? What does your husband do? And having those conversations where you can understand what's going on in their world so that you can, at the appropriate time, then make an invitation to visit the chapter. If people have this idea that they're on a island or they're, all alone and they don't know anyone. But when you start pointing out, hey, do you go to church? Yeah. How many members are in the church? Oh, there's about 300 of us. All right. Awesome. There's 300 people.
What do they do for a fucking living?
Yeah. Do you talk to them? Does your church do coffee events, pre-service, after service? Once you start pointing out, it's like, wow, I actually know a bunch of people. Yes. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
But it's, people just get really short-sighted and don't understand what they actually have in front of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think at the end of the day, guys, you really got to wrap your head around that networking isn't going to grow your business. Being a salesperson to go out and sell so you can introduce others, that will grow your business. The generic way people have networked for years doesn't work. It is just socializing. You need to get collaborative. You need to get strategic. You need to play offense. You need to strategically go after companies, open doors for others, realize that you have a massive Rolodex of contacts that have an extreme value to them. So get in the fucking game and go be a badass and really, really grow your business. Do not sit back and just fucking socialize. And there's more stories to come around this about how to continue to do this. But really, guys, be the badass so you attract badasses to you so you can go big and loud with your business and networking. And guys, do us a favor. If you got any value out of this episode, click the like, follow, leave a comment below, click the bell, to subscribe to the show. And please tell somebody else how to like, follow, and subscribe. Make sure you leave your comments below. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Love you. See ya.